Welcome to Growing Empires. I'm Jennifer DeJesus, real estate investor and operator. This show takes you behind the scenes of how real estate assets are executed, managed, and positioned for long-term performance. Let's get into it.
Oh, Jen, I'm kind of sad. This is like our last segment, our last episode in this interview series. We're not going to be hanging out. And okay, if you're a listener and you want to vote me in to come back on the show and interview Jen some more, you need to send emails in or let us know. Because I've been having such a great time talking with you, Jen, and just exploring your journey and how you think and how you're running the business. And it's all been great. We probably could have done another 10 episodes just peeling back the onion. But in this last little episode, I would like our listener to get super excited about what you are now going to be doing in this show, because before you were doing all different kinds of things, and we really have refined not only the content itself, but we're elevating the sophistication of what you're going to be bringing to the listeners. And so essentially what we've organized is, for the Growing Empires moving forward, we're going to have 4 main categories of the way you're presenting content. And I'll walk you through each one so you can expand on it for our listener. And then, of course, there's always the 5th one, which is ad hoc. And who knows, we may come up with other ways to deliver some real valuable content as we get feedback from our listenership. If you're ready, let's go ahead and talk about what's coming for Growing Empires, the best podcast on real estate investing.
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So the first category that we're curating content is going to be about, and you've been asked about this, which is why we're doing it from your listeners and your customers, is lessons from the front line. And this is where you're going to be telling stories of beginning, like when you first meet somebody and you do the in-depth inquiry, asking them all about, like as an advisor, what they're trying to accomplish, where are they at in their career, their life, their financial goals and all that. And taking each particular story through to the end, like where are they now? How much have they made? What are they doing to expand? They sold their property. So talk a little bit more about why we're focusing on doing that lessons from the front line, because I think it's a great way to use storytelling to show people how these things evolve and sometimes how long they take too.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this type of episode. And it's because I pay close attention to why people come in and out of real estate. And I hear a lot of people talking about that one bad experience that kind of derailed them, or this one bad operator. And I think people instinctively think that it's either all good or all bad and there's nothing in the middle. And that's just so not true. So the lessons from the front line is really me just getting down and dirty. Like, I'm going to share some of my most critical learning opportunities, some of the biggest mistakes or the biggest wins and how we got there. And my hope is that in the lessons from the front line, not only are you getting to experience a different side of the deal than maybe you're privileged enough to see, but it gives you the kind of the bird's eye view of where things go wrong, how they go wrong, how you fix them, how do you analyze something before you invest in it, how do you know what's right for you. And it's really just everything from why we walked away from specific deals to what we learned about raising money and why would somebody want to raise money, why a bad assumption or a bad underwriting almost tanked a property. You name it, and we probably are going to talk about it in the lessons from the front line. This is my opportunity to peel back the curtain and give you an inside look at all of the things that we've learned. And my hope is that your deals are more successful and you have less likely any risks or lessened risks by hearing some of the challenges or knowing some of the things that you could experience.
I love it. And I agree with you. I think there's so many opportunities. And the other thing I like about the approach of doing the storytelling of lessons from the front line is there may be someone who's listening to the episode who is not quite at that point of becoming an investor, or they've invested maybe in just a small duplex or something, and they want to get more properties, or they want to get to that next level. And if they hear a story, they can start kind of like visualizing, like, that sounds like something that would work really good for me. And then they can move forward and start learning more. And I think that with everything that we're doing with your work moving forward, and becoming more of an educational resource, and a true advisor, not just an operator who gets all the things that we've already talked about in these episodes, but someone that people can truly rely on as a resource to learn and improve their opportunities as they become a stronger and better and more seasoned real estate investor. So this is really, really a good one. Now, the second category would be more like a case study. And this is kind of similar to lessons from the Frontline, but we're going to call this inside the deal. And this is where you're going to get really into the weeds on something very specific. And what I think is really important about this, it's one of my biggest complaints whenever I listen to any other type of podcast in general or training in general, is they don't get detailed enough, because it's like they'll hit a point where they go X deep, and then they just keep moving forward. And it's like, well, wait a minute, I had 3 or 4 questions about, well, what happens if this, and what about this part of it? And in this scenario, this might happen. And they don't go deep enough. And I think that what you're planning on doing with Inside the Deal is, not only are you showing step 1, we did this, step 1, 2, we did that, but you're going, and this is why we did step 2. So it's similar to lessons from the Frontline, but that's more like, this is what we learned. These were our takeaways. This is the situation of what happened, more like a story form. This one is going to be more case study. Like, we started here, and these are the things that we did, and here's why. And getting into the weeds, I think, is going to be really important. So talk more about Inside the Deal.
Inside the deal is where the results happen. That is what this episode is about. And it is specific to case studies. So it's specific to examples of things that have been happening. But we're talking, again, down and dirty. We're talking about how capital stacks are put together. We're going to talk about how we structured a syndication, or how we structured a debt stack, how we negotiated with lenders to get specific or favorable terms. We're going to talk about waterfalls and risks associated with different LP/GP positions. We're going to talk about how we entered the deal, maybe the due diligence that we did, or what we uncovered in due diligence that made us walk away from a specific deal. So it's going to be everything about the deal specifically, from acquisition to disposition. And we're going to talk about that full cycle. We're going to talk about the everything in between, even the challenges during management or during operations that we experience. My hope is that from inside the deal, it's going to give you a learning that give you an opportunity to experience that some of these things are really not complicated. It's just about knowing the right people, having the right connections, and having the right partners, which is something we'll talk about a lot. And when you're able to put all these things together, the sky's the limit. So, I have investors now that are asking me, well, how do I raise money? If I wanted to do this, how could I do it? And it's amazing, because these are investors that started owning their own assets, then they invest in the funds, and now they're in different LP positions, and now they're talking about structuring their own syndications, because they've figured out that there's opportunities beyond just owning your own assets. So getting inside the deal is about teaching you everything about how those things are structured, and how the payouts are done, and the legally side of it, all of that. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think those 2 particular episode types are going to be a lot of fun for you. It's going to be hard to keep you to time. You may have to do 2 and 3 parters, like we're doing here. Yep. So the third one is what you did a lot in your prior several year episodes that you have been doing up to this point. This is, right now we're in the 21st season, which is crazy when you think about how many episodes you've actually produced. But this one is about your guests, and you have brought so many interesting people, and I hope that you're considering bringing back a lot of your guests that you had several years ago just to see where they're at in their journey and how they've evolved their business or how they've changed it, as well as a whole cadre of new people that you can bring in, not only for their experience in deals and what unique thing. Like I remember listening to one of your guests talk about, it was in your best of series, where they were talking about mobile home parks
Yeah.
and how they had that as their asset class. And I thought that that was like, well, you never really think about it, but that's usually you think about like apartment buildings or homes or duplexes or whatever. But I mean, there's commercial buildings, there's warehouses, there's land, there's so many different types of assets that can bring into any of these types of models, financial models in investing in real estate. When it comes to what we'll call capital conversations, is where you bring on your guests. So talk about some of the things that you really enjoyed about interviewing guests and what you're looking forward to in this new level of guests that you'll be bringing on the show.
Well, I definitely loved hearing a fresh perspective on how people were investing, what they were doing, why they were doing it. And I think that that's one of the things that our listeners or my listeners really enjoyed the most was getting to hear fresh perspectives. I can tell you a number of times where somebody would reach out to me after the fact and say, "Hey, I want to learn more about this. What do you know about this particular topic?" I'm excited to expand upon that, but I'm even more excited to level up. In some of those conversations, we had people talking more about their specific niche and a lot less about how their expertise lends themselves as a good partner or a good vendor for an investor to level up. So, what I want to try to focus on this time around is bringing you fresh perspectives without losing kind of that authority in the space that we're in, and by giving you more of a guided focus on specific topics that are pertinent to today. So, as an example, how the SEC has changed the regulations, how they brought back 100% bonus depreciation, and how you can use that to take some tax advantages, cost segregations, and how they apply to your property, and who, if you're not doing them, why you should be doing them. We'll get a little bit more down and dirty with like the banks and capital stacks and funding opportunities because there's so much variety out there in the market. It's hard to kind of cut through the noise. We'll be bringing in the experts, and the capital conversations are going to be a lot of people that are my trusted advisors versus me just bringing on people that I know from the industry or people that I think have a unique perspective on things. I'm giving you front row seats to my advisors, the people that have helped me and have been instrumental in my growth in my companies, my investing personally, my investing in syndications and hedge funds and all the things that we talk about. But I'm giving you backstage passes to those specific people. As you try to level up your own investment game, you can use some of these connections and these resources that I have spent years developing. And I hope that that's going to be a really instrumental opportunity for our investors, unlike our previous kind of guest interviews.
It's like you're opening your little black book for everybody.
I am. I am.
I love it.
It should be gold plated, actually.
It's so funny as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, we need to rename this podcast to be the Down and Dirty with Jen.
Yeah.
Because it truly
Yeah.
is about
Or
getting.
peeling back the curtain, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. We have some fun. Well,
Yeah.
the last one, and you kind of hit on this when you gave some examples in that last category. The fourth one is really going to be your educational, your tactical episode. And we're going to call that investor intel. And this is where you're going to focus on something very, very specific as it relates to an element that happens or occurs inside the investment process or the deal. And these are things that you can remember how I was talking about going deep. A lot of people just don't go deep enough. You're going to be going really deep, but it's going to be, what do they say? It's an inch wide and a mile deep. That's what you're doing in this one, but it's strictly education. So you're talking about like, here is how you do it. This is what you look out for. So talk some more about that.
Yeah, that is, I would call that mini masterclass. That's what those episodes are going to be, mini masterclasses. And it's about bringing you digestible learning, right? In very small increments that, as Terry, you mentioned, we go kind of deep, not wide, we go deep. So we're going to talk about a topic. So a topic could be AI and how it supports real estate currently, or how can you use AI to scale your business. We could be talking about the breakdown of preferred returns and how they work in a preferred returns and how they work in a syndication. It's going to be a masterclass. We may go through underwriting principles, right? Where I may be telling you, bring out your spreadsheet or download this spreadsheet so you can use it when you listen to this podcast. So that's what this is going to be. This is going to be mini masterclasses where I should be charging thousands of dollars for these things. These are mini masterclasses on a very specific topic that are meant purposely to help you elevate your real estate game in whatever direction you want to go. So I'm really excited about it. They're going to be short and sweet, but man, are we going to unpack a whole lot of detail. You're going to leave those mini masterclasses saying, yes, I can raise capital. Yes, I'm going to use AI. Yes, I can underwrite the deal. That's what our goal is behind those mini masterclasses.
Love it. I'm supercharged. I'm ready, okay, where do I sign up? And who knows, it may lead to something that we develop in the future where you're actually creating online course content. And I think that there's so many people that could benefit from that, God forbid that they're not a listener to Growing Empires. Come on. And then, of course, we have the last category, which is really ad hoc. And things may come up. You may meet unique people who are doing something crazy in the industry, and you may just want to have them on and talk about it. Or, there could be any number of things. You may have one of your team members come on and talk about what they do in the business. There's a lot of different things that we can do. So we always want to leave space for kind of those random inspired episodes, which are always going to be little surprises. Thank you for walking through that. And thank you for going through this entire series. And I didn't prepare you for this. So I'm just telling the listener, I didn't prepare Jen for this question coming up, but it kind of hit me as I was listening to her. And I'm just very moved by everything you've shared and how accomplished you have become as a business owner, as a leader, as an advisor, as a partner in these deals, and the things that you've learned. Talk about School of Hard Knocks and how much you've done. I'm amazed you get it done. And like there are just not enough hours in the day, I'm sure you feel sometimes. But I wanted to ask you, what do you love about the work that you do most?
The relationships, hands down. I don't even have to think about it. Relationships. It is so empowering to know that I am affecting somebody's life. I truly have a handle in that. It's interesting because in the businesses that we're in, that's not typically how you think of the business. You don't think of property management as you're affecting somebody's life or their greater good. But I love the relationships, love them. And I love being able to help people achieve financial freedom and whatever that looks like to them. And that is what I'm passionate about. That's what I get up at every day to do. And it's the thing that feels the most rewarding at the end of the day, to know that I have had a positive impact on somebody's personal life and their financial goals or their financial destiny.
Well, that's beautiful. And thank you for accommodating my surprise question. And I'm glad
it was an easy one. I thought it was going to be way harder. I didn't know if I was going to get up and do jumping jacks or. No, that was good.
Well,
Terry.
I do appreciate and thank you for going through all of these stories about your journey and your company and your empire, your whole ecosystem, and how you're helping others grow their empires. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Oh, you're welcome, Terry. Thanks so much for hosting and having these conversations with me. It's been a blast.
It has been fun. All right. We'll see you in the next episode.
That's it for now. If passive income from real estate investments plays a role in your long-term investment strategy, this show is for you. Thanks for listening. And for more in-depth resources, please head over to growingempires.com.